Welcome everybody to the 2018 Renault Duster all-wheel drive. Now, I particularly like this car a lot and I'm really excited to finally get my hands on one. So let's see how this thing drives. First up, I must mention that this is only available in the 110 PS, not in the 85 PS. Yes, the Duster is available with two engines. One is the 110 PS, one is the 85 PS. So I have the 110 PS, which is only available with the all-wheel drive, and let's see how it is. Initial, well, yeah, you can feel that the clutch is really light and it's easy to set off. You know, there's lots of low-end torque. You'd really love the way this car pulls off from low speeds. I mean, I just shifted to third and I'm below 30. That's how good the low-end torque is. I mean, you know, I've heard that this car is known for its low-end torque. I've driven the Logan, the Mahindra Logan. It has the same engine as this, basically, the 85 PS. This is pretty much the same with a different map. So it still maintains the low-end torque ability, and it's really surprising, and it's really useful in bumper-to-bumper traffic. You'd be surprised how useful it actually is. Look at that, I'm shifted into 5th and I'm below 50. I'm on 40 and there is no lugging at all. It's comfortably cruising. You know, this actually helps you in getting great fuel economy, which I must say that in the city you can get about 13 to 14 kilometers per liter. On the highway you can go up to 17 or 18, probably more depending on how you drive. But initially you can be so comfortable with this car. You know, you don't feel like you're driving a new car for the first time. It just feels so good. Just turning around and the turning radius is just perfect. I mean, after all, it's not a full-fledged SUV, right? It is a sort of a compact SUV. Duster was the one that started the trend of this compact SUV segment. First the Duster was launched, then the EcoSport, the Brezza, Nexon, Creta, all, you know, the Duster basically started the trend. And it's still living up to its name, you know. It's still living up to its name. It's so easy to drive and you'd be so surprised. It's so nice to drive. It's just amazing, you know, like the engine is so tractable. And then there's always when you put the gear into second and then you pull it, and it actually pulls, though it only revs to a meager 5,000, but it actually pulls well. It actually pulls well. It's nice, actually. You'd be really surprised at how this thing shifts its character. Now, the main characteristics of the all-wheel drive version which I have today is obviously the all-wheel drive hardware that this car has, which the normal Duster does not have. And you do have a slight compromise with the all-wheel drive kit, is because the standard Duster has 470 liters of boot space. This has only 410. Now 410 isn't bad as such, but this has only 410 because the all-wheel drive suspension hardware eats into the boot. Because in a normal Duster, the spare wheel is mounted below the boot, as it is in most of the cars in the segment, in, like, you know, this body on frame vehicles and all that, you know, basically everything in that price range. But because of the hardware the all-wheel drive version carries, the extra suspension bits, they've had to move the spare wheel from under the car into the wheel well of the boot. Now that's obviously much more convenient for the user to take out and use, but you do have to compromise a little bit of boot space. But I think that's totally acceptable by me because, you know, in an unfortunate incident of a flat tire, I've actually changed the tire from taking off from the underbelly of the car, and it's really painful. You know, it's really painful. We took the car off-roading and we were pleasantly surprised. I mean, I already knew that the Duster all-wheel drive is a very capable car, but taking it off-road and seeing it practical in front of my eyes was a truly amazing experience. I mean, the car did not even get bogged down once, even though I did take it in some slush. And I know it's not really serious off-roading, but that slush could have caught out anybody else, but it didn't catch out the Duster, and it was a good surprise, and I really enjoyed the experience taking this little car off the road. Give it a beans. Now you see the low end torque that works in the lower revs kind of dies off at the higher rev. You lose that punch. There is no punch in the higher rev. You go past 3000 rpm, 3500, and you lose performance. There's a very evident performance drop, and that's okay. You know, it's not, you don't rev your car every day. In fact, in a car like this, you don't even need to rev it at all. It's that good. The low end torque is so easy to live with in the city. You don't have to downshift that much in traffic, and that's really helpful. You know, it's a big boon. And I mean, I must really give credit to Renault for tuning the engine in such a beautiful way that you don't need to frequently change the gears, because it really saves on stress, you know, in traffic. A big contribution to stress in traffic driving is changing the gears, and this you don't have to change as much. You can use second as like almost like an automatic. That's how good it is. Though speaking of the gearbox itself, it is a little notchy. It's not the smoothest of shifting boxes, but could have been a little smoother, but it's not the worst. I mean, I've seen worse and heavier gearboxes. This is not heavy, but it's notchy. Yep, it's definitely notchy, and you can feel it. The turning radius is fantastic. I mean, obviously this car is a compact SUV at the end of the day, so it does have a very small footprint, and you see that again in daily to daily bumper traffic. It's small. You know, you don't have to worry about, you know, scraping, or you don't have to worry about, you know, fitting into small gaps or small parking spaces. This car really works on a daily basis, and you can really connect with it. You know, it's a great daily car, yet it has the capability of the all-wheel drive, which, as you've seen, is spectacular. I mean, there are lots of videos online where you can see the Duster all-wheel drive is amazing. I know I haven't pushed it as much as the limit. It's just a fraction of what it can do, but it's an amazing package to live with, and absolutely love it. Now, there's one thing I would like to talk about, and that is the ergonomics of this car. Now, Renault is a French brand, and the French are known to have crazy ergonomics in their cars. I mean, it's a long history they have with ergonomics. I give you an example. The power window switches, normally you would expect it on the door pad, right, of every car. In this car, it's a little ahead. It's pretty low, but it's pretty ahead. Another ergonomic flaw I'd like to say is that the audio system, the infotainment, although it does have Bluetooth and everything, it's located in a very awkward position. I mean, you have to take your eyes off the road to do any sort of thing on the infotainment system, and that's not cool when you're driving, to take your eyes off the road. Another ergonomic quirk, I would say, is that the cruise control, you turn it on from the button here. Normally you find it on the steering wheel. Yes, you can adjust the cruise control, the speed on the steering wheel, but you turn it off from here, and that's pretty weird. The volume button and the source button is normally found on the steering wheel again, but it's not. It's a weird knob-like thing behind the steering wheel, and that's kind of weird as well. I mean, what's the harm in putting it on the steering wheel? It's much more easier to use. But nope, the French always do it differently, and there's some knob-like thing behind the steering wheel. Now, when I had this car, the AC was off, and I thought, why isn't the AC working? Because they said there's a button with AC and the light was on. As it turns out, the French do it differently. When the light is on, it means it's off, and when you turn it off, when you press the button and the light goes off, that means the AC is on. Who comes up with such stuff? How much is this guy paid, you know, to come up with such weird stuff? You don't find this in normal cars. And the same guy probably worked on the door pads as well, because the door pads, the arm grab handle is red, which is amazing. It looks amazing. But the aircon vents are orange. I don't know how that works, you know. Who commissioned this guy? Who allowed such stuff? I don't know. But yeah, this is how Renault works. This is how the French people work. So we just accept such stuff, and this is how they work. Overall, you know, this car is a great package. It costs 15.5 lakhs on road, which is a little steep for a compact SUV, especially a car of this size, but it's got great all-wheel drive capabilities which no other car has. And I feel that driving this around town is really easy because you can get a great view of the bonnet. You know, feels like almost driving like a Scorpio. You can get a whole view of the bonnet. You can easily, you know, place your car in the right gap without worrying that, oh no, if my car is gonna fit or not. It's gonna fit perfect because you can get a great view and you can perfectly steer your car for that perfect gap. I just like to sum it up by saying that the good parts of the car is that the engine is so tractable. The low revs in this car are such a magic trick, you know. You don't have to rev the car at all to get moving at a decent pace. The ride and the handling combination is sublime. It's always been a forte of the Duster, and this just does it better with the wider tires. The space is decent. It's not the most spacious car, but it's definitely much more spacious than the Ford EcoSport or the likes. I mean, if you put this seat all the way back, somebody can still sit behind, and that's not the case in the EcoSport. It looks timeless. I mean, this car has been in the market for a long time, but it still looks really good with the facelift. You know, they've updated the tail lights, they've smoked the headlights, and it looks really good to me. Still till date, it's one of the better looking vehicles in the market, even though it's so old in the market now. And it's something you can really love. There are a few cons. The cons are basically the after sales service of Renault is a hit or miss. It could work, could not work. It depends on how your experiences are. The high-end performance of the engine, not so good. I mean, it's not like you'd be there all the time, but it could have been better, you know. Another con is the ergonomics. I mean, you come to live with this, and it's fine, you know. Small things like the seat belt. I have to raise the armrest to put the seatbelt every time, and small stuff like that, ergonomics. You can live with that, but again, it is a definite con. It is a surprise for somebody who's not used to such things. And overall, I don't know, that's, you know, pretty much sums it up. It's a great package, and I've been dying to get my hands on it, and I'm so glad that I finally did, and I'm not disappointed at all. I absolutely love this package. It's a great little car. Absolutely love it. And kudos to Renault for making it such a great package and tuning it and tweaking it over time to make it just that more desirable. Absolutely love it. And on that note, thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.